Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today at Pear Fair. I'm Adam Lindstrom. I work with schools and districts in the Mid-Atlantic to help them build powerful learning moments with Pear Deck. While many of you are regular Pear Deck users, you may not be as familiar with our new partner, GoGuardian. In November, our team announced an exciting partnership with GoGuardian, which is really exciting because our missions to support educators and students are truly aligned. And like Pear Deck, GoGuardian believes that a better world starts in a classroom, and that by helping educators leverage technology thoughtfully to create safer, more inclusive, and engaged learning environments, we can make that happen. So I'm joined today by Kevin from GoGuardian to give us a walkthrough of one of the core GoGuardian products, GoGuardian Teacher, and show you some cool ways it can be used with Pear Deck. Thanks for joining me today, Kevin.
Thanks, Adam. I'm so glad to be here. How cool is it that our companies have partnered together after we met 2 years ago at a conference in New York? As the EdTech advisor at GoGuardian, this is the perfect partnership.
Totally agree. So do you want to kick us off today by introducing GoGuardian Teacher?
Sure. In order to cut down on transition times, teachers can open tabs on students' machines. Let's say you started a class and you want to get all your students into your Pear Deck session. Using GoGuardian Teacher, you can select all students, open a new tab, paste the link in, and send the tab to their devices. As you can see, all the students are now being launched into the Pear Deck session. Another great feature is the ability to chat with your students. Say at the beginning of the lesson, one of your SEL templates to check in, and your student indicates that they are stressed. As you move through the Pear Deck activity, you can see on the teacher feedback feature to leave them encouragement or follow up with them via chat or audio call in GoGuardian Teacher. I can turn chat on, click on my student, and send a chat to make sure that they're doing okay. Please note that this chat is only between students and teachers and not between students and students. As you go through the lesson, you'll see on your teacher dashboard that one of your students is not answering interactive questions. You can use the GoGuardian Teacher view to view their screens and find out why the student isn't participating. If they're off task, you can easily close a tab and get them back on track so you can engage with the whole class. Another great feature is GoGuardian Scenes. If you find that students are consistently getting distracted on the devices, you can use GoGuardian Teacher to apply a scene. By embedding in any relevant websites into the scene, teachers are able to make sure that students are focused on what the task is at hand. For Pear Deck, we have created a quick list that allows you to quickly add the list, give it a quick name, Pear Deck activity, and save the scene. This will limit the students' activities to just working in Pear Deck. And finally, at the end of your Pear Deck lesson, you can include a prompt to check for understanding. The 3 students indicated that they're still having trouble. Using GoGuardian Teacher, you can initiate a video conference call, inviting those 3 students to share your screen to go over the lesson in more detail. As you can see, I've turned on my camera. I'm going to leave my microphone off for the moment, and we'll have the option to record the call. Then you can select the students and begin your call to provide additional helps and supports. Now that the class has ended, you can check student attention engagement, GoGuardian Teacher, using the timeline view. The timeline view is a detailed report that records students' behavior and history during the class period, so teachers can check for attendance and see where students were on task during the lesson. You can also use Pear Deck Teacher Dashboard to see where students were engaged with your lesson and provide them with direct feedback.
Thanks so much for that demo of GoGuardian Teacher, Kevin. Now I'm going to demonstrate a short Pear Deck session so you can get a sense for how both Pear Deck and GoGuardian Teacher can work together. As you can see, I have my Pear Deck session already started. Pear Deck lessons can be created from either Google Slides or PowerPoint Online. Pear Deck lessons fully integrate with G Suite for Education or Microsoft for Education and Teams and Google Classroom. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm facilitating this Pear Deck lesson as a teacher. I'm starting this lesson today with a social emotional learning template here. This slide helps students practice gratitude, build compassion for one another, demonstrate teamwork. So I'm working on a student screen as well, and you can see here is my student window. I'm also in here as a student with my Pear Deck account. That's the beauty of that as well. Teachers can join their own lessons with their own school Google account to demonstrate any questions they need to for the class. But here is my student screen. So I've just answered the question. You see that there is no enter or submit button. The responses actually go to the teacher in the moment in real time. The students can add other responses. And as the students are doing the work, if they are having trouble reading or struggling readers or ESL or ELL students, on the bottom of the student screen, there's this little book with the audio icon. This is Microsoft's immersive reader built right into the Pear Deck lesson. This is where the students can change some text preferences. They can change the font, the size, they can increase spacing, among other things. They also have parts of speech that can be labeled. And more importantly, for your ELL and ESL students, there are translation features here. I can translate into almost 70 different languages throughout the world. So if I need to select Portuguese, Portugal, and translate by word, I can do this. Or I can go back here and translate by the entire document as well. And then if I were to click play, this would read this text slide to me in my native language right here in my headphones on screen right now. This is a great tool built right into Pear Deck Premium for students to essentially help them with reading or translation, all built right into the Pear Deck experience. I'm going to move this student screen off right now. And let's point out a couple different things here on this shared screen. This is what we call the Pear Deck projector view. And when a teacher shows their responses here, they have a couple different views. But what's great here is that the teacher can share these answers anonymously. Now, in this case, we're calling out classmates, and that's really great. But this is, again, one of those ways that teachers can facilitate the discussion, display answers from the whole class, help everyone see the different perspectives that are happening, lead a discussion, very much tied to the art and science of instruction and questioning and receiving answers from students. If I need to use the lock screen at the bottom, I can just tap that for heads up classroom management, and that will lock the screen on the students. And it looks just like this for the students. It says the teacher has locked responses for this slide. I'll move that back off the screen. And going on to our next question. This is one of our draggable questions and draggable templates here. I want to point out that this is more or less one of our templates that I've edited to fit some content and specific objectives here. In this case, we're dragging the icons to volcanoes around the world. And again, here is my student screen, and I am able to do the work and drag the answers around the map. But back here on my projector view, I love draggables for this reason. When we do the overlay view, this is where we get to see like that consensus where all the students are, drag in this case, the triangles for the volcanoes all around the map, and we get to see what everybody is thinking right now. Draggables are great quick checks for understanding. Any type of question could be made a draggable. You do the work on the edit mode or design found in Google Slides or PowerPoint, but draggables are great quick formative assessment for all ages, but are really accessible for your primary age students and elementary age students as well. Or from my classroom experience, it reminds me of a quick thumbs up or thumbs down type question where you ask the class how they're feeling or if they agree. But here with the draggables in this content specific question, you can get really creative with the type of question you're asking your students. Moving on to our next question. In this case, I'm sticking with my theme of geology and earthquakes and volcanoes. In this case, I'm leveraging, as the teacher, one of the template slides for primary, secondary, and tertiary sources, and I have it identified here for earthquakes and volcanoes. And so we're going to do a project on that, and I need my students to help us identify some resources. This is what the student screen looks like in a drawing slide. This is where the student has the ability to write with a pencil, highlight with a highlighter, draw some lines with a straight line tool. The student can erase and undo, and even type text and change the color and get creative here. So your drawing slides are really creative ways to have the students communicate in multiple ways to the teacher. All right, we'll move that off screen for just a moment. And let me show you the teacher dashboard in this case. So the teacher dashboard here, I'm going to make it a little bit larger. This allows me to see all of my answers coming in from students, again, in real time. So here we have I'll have my other student screen open, and we'll have this student do some work. And let me show you some work happening in real time. And you see here, this student, Adam, this is actually my student response, is answering in the moment as it's happening. All right. And so what I can do here with the teacher dashboard is I can have a couple of different classroom management options here. I'm able to see the student responses again, but I'm also able to now, super important, comment back to the students and give them some more feedback. And so once the student gets a little feedback and comment from the teacher, they have a notification here that says you have new feedback. Then they can click that and they can read it. All right. And so the teacher can have this dialogue potentially right here through the teacher dashboard. The teacher can comment on all students' work, whether they are in a teacher-paced lesson like we are right now, whether we're remote like we are in this demonstration today, or in person. And so the teacher has full control with the teacher dashboard to give every student feedback should they choose to. And then also, importantly, the teacher can guide the conversation perhaps just by starring a couple of answers. So when the teacher stars 2 answers and then clicks show responses, these 2 responses are displayed for the class to see. So the teacher can put up 2 differing opinions, 2 different perspectives. The teacher can really guide the conversation in a specific direction. The teacher can highlight a bunch of great answers from the class. I can highlight as many as I'd like to. Think about what your end goal here is. If you need to highlight a bunch of responses to show everyone's, that's great. If you want to just remove one response, you can just click hide response, or if you want to remove 2, you could do that. And then those 2 responses are no longer displayed. So whatever your end goal is, displaying a couple or removing 1 or 2 responses, this is a great way to, again, facilitate the conversation by showing the answers anonymously to the whole group, where you have actionable insights, though, from the teacher dashboard. While we're on the dashboard, I'll just point out a couple of different things here. I can open the class roster, and I can see what students are in my Pear Deck today. I have the ability to hide a student from a session or block a student if I needed to. Perhaps there was some behavior issue that you needed to address. I'm also able to add my co-teachers from this dashboard. So if I click invite co-teacher and simply copy this link, now I'm able to send this over to my co-teacher and they're able to join. So in this case, you see my co-teacher, Sierra, just joined our Pear Deck, and now she's in the teacher dashboard. She has the ability to comment, give feedback to students, facilitate the lesson as well. So I could step back and she can step forward and facilitate, similar to what you do in a true co-teaching environment. I'm also able to remove Sierra. So if I gave this to the wrong co-teacher for the wrong class period, I could just quickly take her out. And the students will be able to see that feedback comes from her. At the top here of the dashboard, you can see who is the host and who is the co-teacher. You can have as many co-teachers as needed to support your learning environment. All right, let's keep us going. I'm going to use the dashboard this time to navigate, and I can just click here and move us to our next slide. As you see here, this is a kind of a check-in with students. How are they feeling? What's going on? Just a quick check for understanding, helping them build metacognition. And when you display these answers anonymously, this also helps the class build some compassion for one another if the teacher needs to go work with a few students or reteach a concept, perhaps. Maybe the majority of the class is confused and there's a couple students that are pushing to move forward and eager to go on. That's great. And if you can't get to those students to differentiate for them in the moment, your other student, they might recognize that the teacher is helping other students. In this case, again, it's anonymous, but over here on the teacher dashboard, I can just hover over all of these and I can give those students some feedback or see who I need to check in with. I can also display the answers in a grid view and easily respond to those students. So I can send a message over to Shira and I can say, what can I help with? Send the feedback. And now here again, Shira's screen has a notification that says you have new feedback. I can also mark it as read. All right, and then I can go ahead and work with that student. In this case, I also think it's a great space to leverage GoGuardian Teacher, where with that tool, you're able to chat with the student, video call, and do that differentiation and that personalized learning in the moment right through the GoGuardian Teacher technology. Now, I also want to model one more thing here with Pear Deck, and that's the ability to add in a new prompt and quickly ask a question on the fly. I don't have to necessarily stick to the script, so to speak. I'm able to add in a new question, and I might say, what do you wonder? What questions do you have? Pause and write what you just learned, using one of our templates that are ready to go. I can even ask another question verbally for the students and have them use the same slide, and maybe now I want them to type. So I'll go ahead and ask them to type what they're confused about. And so on the student screen, they'll have that ability to respond to the teacher. So now I can go ahead here and say, I don't understand where volcanoes are located. Right? And so now the teacher can see these responses again through the teacher dashboard. All right. So now what we're going to do is switch over to a student-paced lesson. We've been instructor-paced so far. This is great, again, for your real-time synchronous learning, whether in person or remotely. Student pace mode allows you to support center rotations in the classroom, individualized Pear Deck lessons, group Pear Deck lessons, lessons for groups of students. It allows you to facilitate student-paced asynchronous remote learning, right? And allows the kids to do the work, whether they're doing it as classwork or homework. And to do that, I just need to click the three-dot menu button and click Turn on Student Paced. Now here I have the ability to watch the students go through the lesson, and I can see the answers happening in real time. So here's my teacher dashboard, and I can see that I'm waiting for responses. Right, and you see the answers happening again as the students are getting to work. Right. While in student pace mode, I can also use the dashboard to see which students are on a particular slide. So here I see this student is on the website embedded slide. So in this case, this is a Newsela embedded article, and the students can read this article after they sign in and answer some of the questions found there. Again, you can fully bring your students to any website right within the Pear Deck. This allows them to fully interact with the website and navigate the site right within the Pear Deck without opening another tab. So again, here on the dashboard, I see that Adam is on this slide. I see that Brighton is on this slide. All right, great. All the students are doing some work. I can open the class roster and still see who's offline, who's closed out a tab and is no longer on the Pear Deck. And from the teacher dashboard, if I click any of these slides, I can bring the whole group back together. So in the essence of time, I'll move us along out of student pace, and I just stop the student pace lesson, and I can end our student work and activity here. So again, the students are still doing the work, and I can now show this the responses anonymously here, again, from the projector view. And to recap from the teacher dashboard, I can see all the answers happening again in real time. All right, the last thing to show you about the Pear Deck projector and dashboard view is that I do have the ability to give the students wait time, 3 minutes, 1 minute, or 30 seconds. We'll give the group another 30 seconds. And as you see, the shot clock counts down, and my answers are still coming in from my class. This is great. And then when it finishes the countdown, it automatically locks on the student screen. But of course, you could always unlock it if you need to monitor and adjust that time for your class. So as you can see, there are a variety of ways educators can leverage Pear Deck, whether in person or remote, teacher directed or student paced. Pear Deck gives every student a voice and every teacher insight into their students' learning. Again, with the teacher dashboard, you're able to provide individualized feedback to every single student and work with them in the moment or while on a student-paced lesson. Referencing our survey data, Pear Deck is used by all grade levels and all subject areas. Formative assessments, retrieval, discussion, social emotional awareness, metacognition, and critical thinking are appropriate for any class regardless of content. The flexibility of our templates and interactive prompts make it easy to tailor lessons to any age or ability. On this slide, this is our Pear Deck logic model. This explains how administrators, teachers, and students use Pear Deck, what they do with it, and the outcomes they can expect to realize. Internally, this logic helps guide the development of our products, making the connection between key features in Pear Deck and the desired learning outcomes. For the administrators, this guides instruction and efficacy and professional development. For teachers, this helps them be more effective through formative assessment, student engagement, and this indicates what the indicators of success will be and what should be improved to increase efficacy moving forward. As I already stated, Pear Deck integrates fully with the tools you already use, whether in G Suite or Microsoft, using Classroom or Teams, and Canvas or Schoology. Plus, with Pear Deck, educators always own their content and their Pear Deck lessons found right in their own Google Drive or OneDrive. So those are just a few ideas for Pear Deck and GoGuardian to stay connected and engaged with students wherever learning is happening, whether remotely or in the classroom. And we're excited for you to try it out in your classroom and experience the powerful learning moments that can take place. Be sure to visit the Pear Fair website to find links to resources to learn more. Thanks for joining us today.
Adam, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for being here on this awesome adventure now that our companies have partnered together.
Absolutely. It's exciting times. So those are just a few ideas for pairing Pear Deck and GoGuardian to stay connected and engaged with students wherever learning is happening. We're excited for you to try it out in your classroom and experience the powerful learning moments that take place. Be sure to visit the Pear Fair website to find links to resources to learn more. Thanks for being here.